Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, it's a step forward many have been waiting for. From as early as next month, Tasmanians could be vaccinated against COVID-19. For more, we're joined by our reporter Ruby Main, who is at one of the probable vaccination sites. Good evening to you, Ruby. Now, today's announcement is certainly a significant development.
It sure is, Kim. After nearly a year of cases, deaths and wave after wave across the country, Tasmania is taking a major step forward out of the pandemic. A complex plan is in place to vaccinate here at the Royal Hobart Hospital in Launceston and in the northwest. Let's take a look now at how the rollout is set to take shape. The challenge that could define 2021.
Whilst this is a complex program to pull together, Tasmania has the health experts to do this.
On Monday, a mass vaccination emergency operations centre will be established. Authorities making painstaking preparations for the mammoth operation.
We'll be bringing in further logistics, compliance, nursing and communications positions to continue our planning and preparation and to be ready to commence the rollout.
It's hoped the Pfizer vaccine will be approved by regulators later this month. Rollout in Tasmania is expected to start in February. First in line for the jab will be health workers, as well as aged care staff, residents and those in the disability sector.
The rollout of the vaccine, as I've said, will be phased, targeting the most vulnerable cohorts first, and it's expected to take around 6 months or so in terms of the broader rollout.
The second stage will be administered by GPs and in respiratory clinics, and at Tasmania's 3 largest hospitals in Hobart, Launceston and Burnie.
Whilst the task in front of us is one that could, I think, be described as significant, I've got every confidence that our people will get the job done.
Now, Ruby, that vaccination news comes as we hear of even more cases emerging interstate.
That's right, Kim. Only today, Brisbane was declared an official COVID hotspot. That's already having impacts here, with Tasmania effectively shutting its borders to some travellers. Now, in reaction, Brisbane has gone into a 3-day lockdown to try and suppress the virus. Our reporter Sean McComish has the details.
A troubling echo of the year that's just been. In Brisbane, panic buyers strip shelves as the city prepares for a 3-day lockdown.
If we do not do this now, it could end up being a 30-day lockdown.
There are 23 active COVID cases in Queensland, but a single mutant strain picked up by a quarantine hotel cleaner has the Sunshine State on red alert. 70% more infectious. The Premier says going hard early is the only option.
Look at it as a long weekend at home with your family and friends.
Tasmania joining other states in declaring Greater Brisbane a COVID hotspot. The news shocked those landing as it was announced.
They didn't say very much till we got in here, and then they said we have to quarantine for 14 days.
I've flown from Canberra to meet my daughter from Brisbane. I arrived an hour ago. She was told in flight she's got to go straight back to Brisbane or go to a quarantine hotel for 2 weeks. And she can't do that. She's got to go back to work.
Some still smiling under the masks, despite the bad news.
How are you, Mum?
I'm really good.
Happy to be here?
Very happy.
Yeah.
Relief for travellers who came from places like the Sunshine Coast.
We were fortunate, so we don't have to quarantine because we drove straight to the airport. What happens on our return to Brisbane, we don't know.
Free to go.
All arrivals from the Greater Brisbane hotspot since January 2 have been asked to immediately self-isolate. Tasmania's Premier warning he'll follow Queensland's lead if the new strain arrives here.
The advice that we have is that this new strain is a completely different ballgame, and the best way to deal with it is to go harder and to go faster.
Because of its greater propensity to spread, it is almost certainly harder to control.
Authorities are encouraged by the improving situation in Victoria and New South Wales. Meanwhile, masks will soon be mandatory at all airports and seaports, as well as the Spirit of Tasmania. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
With one of the quietest starts to our bushfire season in years, authorities are reminding us not to become complacent. Hot and windy weather is coming our way, with some areas at higher fire risk after missing out on last year's heavy rainfalls.
The start of 2020. Flames tearing through forest as thick smoke fills Fingal. Similar scenes in the Derwent Valley as residents fear for their properties. A stark contrast to this year's quiet bushfire season.
The brigades and the fire service has appreciated that break. It's probably the first time in 4 or 5 years where we've had a very quiet Christmas, New Year.
But with windy and warm conditions predicted over the weekend, authorities are taking no chances. Fire permits will not be issued from 2 a.m. tomorrow until Monday night, when it's expected to reach the 30s due to concerns over very dry regions.
There is still below average rainfall in other areas, and these areas, especially around New Norfolk, the Coal Valley and around Ouse, need to be very cautious because there are very dry conditions in those areas.
Decent rainfalls, however, hitting other parts of the state last year, with Tasmania experiencing its wettest autumn since 1975.
We're in a much better position than we were last season. We've had some significant rainfalls in a lot of areas.
Rainfall for Australia was 4% above average, 483 millimetres on average for the country as a whole over the year.
While seeing warmer maximum and minimum temperatures than usual.
It was Australia's 4th warmest year on record. Temperatures were 1.15 degrees Celsius above the long-term average.
But despite cooling down over December, authorities remind Tasmanians the bushfire season is far from over.
We ask people not to become complacent. This is the higher end of the season, and we will see these warmer conditions and windy conditions prevail over the next month.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Sustainable Timber Tasmania has stopped forestry activity in the northeast while awaiting the outcome of a federal court case against logging in the state's native forests. The move welcomed by the case's proponent, the Bob Brown Foundation, following major protests in the Tarkine.
Today's news is a big breakthrough in environmental protection in Australia. We're in an age of mass extinction, and one of the most endangered creatures on the planet is the swift parrot, which migrates to Tasmania.
A Sustainable Timber Tasmania spokesperson says the undertaking is solely for the purpose of avoiding a costly and time-consuming dispute. A decision is expected next month. A youth is believed to be critically injured after falling around 10 metres down a cliff at Buckland this afternoon. Emergency services remain on the scene at the Sand River Conservation Area. Authorities say the site isn't accessible by road, with the Westpac Rescue helicopter dispatched to transport the youth to the Royal Hobart Hospital. In what has been described as a horrific and terrible breach of Tasmanians' privacy, the details of every ambulance call-out in the state since November have been published online. Pager messages, often including addresses, names and the condition of patients, have been uploaded to a website, updating in real time. The Health Union is now demanding a thorough government investigation into what happened.
Obviously it's concerning, but we need to get to the bottom of it, and once I've got advice before, we'll have more to say.
The website, which also details fire service call-outs, was online until around 2 hours ago, but currently appears to be down. Tasmania's remote area firefighters have been put through their paces as part of a new training course to prepare for bushfires. Crews practised being winched down into the wilderness from helicopters, putting out small fires before they got out of control.
Preparing to take to the sky. These remote area firefighters undertaking a new training program ahead of the upcoming fire season.
We're training today for winch capability, so 25 of our firefighters are undertaking winch training, a nationally recognised course.
Practising being dropped into some of the state's most remote areas to put out fires before they spread.
We know when dry lightning's coming across, we know where it's likely to be. We can base our firefighters with an aircraft close to that location.
Acting on recommendations from past blazes for authorities to be ready to respond at any time. Training is expected to continue for at least the next 2 weeks, with these firefighters set to be on the ground by February. Parks and Wildlife say these new recruits will help take the pressure off interstate crews during the fire season.
Because we can't always rely on getting New South Wales and other jurisdictions crews down, because we don't ask for them until we're right into the season. So this allows us to act now and get on top of it.
While dangling out of a helicopter isn't for the faint-hearted, it's all in a day's work for these highly trained recruits.
The guys, the reports from all the firefighters is that it's quite easy. The trainers are excellent at what they do and they've got great experience, so they're actually finding it quite easy.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
Tourists are now able to experience a virtual taste of some of the North West Coast top destinations. The Launceston Visitor Information Centre offering people a tour of the region's best destinations through VR goggles.
Encouraging people to tour regional areas can be a little difficult when they don't know exactly what they're headed to.
The North West Coast's got so much to see, perhaps more than people realise, even at an intrastate level. And so making sure that people understand just what there is to see up here has been a driver for us.
These virtual reality goggles are allowing tourists to step into some of the North West's most stunning locations, all from the Launceston Visitor Information Centre. It's intended to entice tourists to go and see the real thing.
So far, most of the people that I've seen put it on are very impressed. So I think if the proof's in the pudding, they're eating it, I think.
The experience has been 3 years in the making, originally suggested by a local tech company.
And we sort of recognised that it might be a very good new promotional tool for our area. The idea is hopefully to be able to get this a little bit wider in its distribution.
The local council, who funded this experience, also looking to future possibilities.
They've further funded us to try and develop some more product around our mountain bike track and also our dining and our fresco type product.
I think as a tourism industry, we're always looking at new ways that we can deliver tourism information to visitors. This is just another step in a really innovative direction.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Residents of Launceston might not know it, but a mission to fix dodgy plumbing is happening right under their feet. The program, which has now reached the halfway point, is stopping 5 Olympic-sized pools worth of sewage from going into the Tamar each year.
It's dirty work, but this crack team of pipe purifiers has an important job to do.
We're actually looking for cross connections of sewage into the stormwater system.
More than 40 properties across Launceston have these cross connections in both old and new homes. Together, they dump 13 megalitres, or 5 Olympic-sized pools, of untreated sewage into the Tamar each year.
A significant amount of sewage is actually going into the separated stormwater system.
For nearly 2 years, the team has been searching kilometres of stormwater pipes for signs of sewage. If they find it, they know there's plumbing nearby which needs to be fixed.
You can imagine day in, day out, the sewer is flowing into the estuary, and even through our driest periods, that is happening.
Controlling the robot is like playing a video game, and it covers a fair bit of ground. The robot can travel 300 metres up and down the pipe to find any problems. 60% of those problems have now been fixed, and they're aiming to have the job done by April, giving locals a clearer conscience when it comes to the Tamar.
This program will have a significant improvement on pathogens going into the estuary, which will improve amenity and public health for everyone in Launceston.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News. Sydney's coronavirus outbreak has forced the Hobart Hurricanes' January 18 clash against the Thunder to be switched to Canberra's Manuka Oval. The Hurricanes will be looking for redemption in that rescheduled match after going down to the Thunder by 39 runs in Perth last night.
Sydney and Hobart playing a Big Bash match in Perth on a Thursday afternoon. Welcome to the way things work in 2021. The Hurricanes suffered a blow before the match began, with Nick Winter replacing Riley Meredith. Marquee pair Alex Hales and Usman Khawaja started strongly in the searing conditions.
Over the top, and that's what you see at the Perth Stadium. And now through the covers. For 4 more.
The pair putting on 59 before Short and Ellis combined to remove Hales.
Alex Hales with his traditional shot. It's a long way out there, and that's the problem.
That wicket triggering a collapse. Ferguson, Billings and Khawaja all falling quickly, with the Thunder suddenly 4 for 76 in the 11th over. Alex Ross coming to the rescue for the men in green.
Alex Ross goes the aerial route. It's a long way out there, but he's got more than enough.
His dazzling 44 included 2 4s and 3 6s, helping set a chase of 168. In reply, Ben McDermott and Darcy Short got to work on reaching the target. Both were dismissed in the 5th over, Short going first, before McDermott was trapped in front 4 balls later.
Well, there's a shout. Gives him. McDermott goes.
From there, the Hurricanes' momentum disappeared as boundaries became hard to come by. Mallon reached 20 before being clean bowled. Hanscom stumped on 30. And when Tim David went, the required run rate was nudging 11 and over. 4 wickets lost in just a 1 boundary for Hobart in the last 5 overs, as they finished 39 runs short. Their next match is against the Perth Scorchers on Tuesday. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Moments ago, the $100,000 Tasmanian Stakes took place at Mowbray, with last year's Hobart Cup winner Toorak Affair claiming the win over Mandela Effect.
Toorak Affair's getting to Mandela Effect. Toorak Affair took the lead. Mandela Effect won't surrender, but Toorak Affair's going home too well and takes the Tasmanian Stakes.
The feature race was moved from Elwick to Launceston due to problems with the turf. And after seeing jockey Jason Maskill notch up win number 500 this week, tonight's flashback takes a look back at one of his father Stephen's famous feats. Stephen Maskill was in rare company when he achieved the Hobart Launceston Cup double aboard St Andrews in 2002. Stephen Maskill burst onto the racing scene in the 80s and rose to the top at the Devonport Cup in 1989.
Always wanted to win a cup. I haven't won any major ones.
A dyed-in-the-wool supporter of the sport, Maskill would teach apprentice jockeys, but his best lessons were on the track.
And Bitter Spring is too good.
Bitter Spring would be his first Launceston Cup winner in 1991, but his Sayre St Andrews was where he made a most indelible mark. First in Launceston at the turn of the century.
St Andrews in front. Mount Arthur lunges. St Andrews won it.
Then in Hobart in 2002.
And St Andrews wins the cup.
Before colourful crowds gathered in Launceston a fortnight later to see St Andrews become the first horse since Bralos 25 years earlier to do the double.
And St Andrews takes out the Amy Cup. What a performance. In second spot, Bondi Iceberg. IMAX has run third, but it's St Andrews' day yet again.
A true rags to riches story, the gelding was bought for just $200, but had amassed well over $500,000 in prize money by retirement. St Andrews would later be inducted into the Tasmanian Racing Hall of Fame alongside his jockey Maskill.
Racing's a funny leveller because only 12 months ago I've had a fall in the last race on Launceston Cup Day and broke my elbow and I was out for 7 months, so it's been a great comeback.
2002 would cap off an incredible record for Maskill of 3 Hobart and 3 Launceston Cups.
Good evening. Who's the high today with 29 degrees, Hobart and Devonport 21, Launceston 24 and Burnie 22. Temperatures up on average, mostly by 3 to 4 degrees. Grove 26, Smithton and Friendly Beaches 24, King Island, Lyre-Weenie both 23, Low Head and St Helens 22, Flinders Island and Strawn 21. Cloud did stick around for a while over the north and east of the state, but clear skies for the rest of Tasmania. An active area of cloud over North Queensland is producing thunderstorms there. A cloud mass extends over eastern Australia, while conditions fairly clear across the rest of the nation. Tomorrow, the position of the couple of high centres maintains wind flow over Tasmania. Troughs persists over WA and through the north of the nation. Variable winds inland tomorrow at 10 knots. Winds will gradually become northwesterly in the afternoon across all waters. Strong wind warning for the east between Tasman Island and South East Cape. Forecast for Saturday. 24 are mostly sunny for Hobart. Maydena the same and 27 the top for Oatlands. Launceston, cloud clearing and 26 the high, 21 for Devonport, sunny for Lyre-Weenie, 23 the maximum, 24 the high for Burnie, Strawn mostly sunny and 21, Marrawar 20, St Helens tomorrow expecting a top of 26 degrees, bit of cloud about Swansea but fine and 25 also for Orford. Sun up at 13 minutes to 6 in the morning with the UV peaking at 11 during the day. On Sunday a fine day with light winds and an afternoon sea breeze, fine and hot on Monday until a late shower over the west, south and central areas, and on Tuesday possible showers over the east, west and south as the winds turn southwesterly. Temperature dropping down to 37 in Perth tomorrow, a sunny 35 in Adelaide, fine and clear for Melbourne and Canberra, partly cloudy weather for Sydney and Brisbane. Sunny in Hobart, still 18 degrees, 21 right now in Launceston, Devonport 19 and sunny. Kim, a warm weekend, plenty of sunshine. Let's get the sunscreen on. I don't want my nose getting any redder than it is.
And that's all your news for this Friday. I'm off on leave for a few weeks, so Louise will be with you over that time. On behalf of the entire 7 Tasmania News team, thanks for your company. Good night.